Hi, I'm Owen from Rask Australia. Thanks for tuning in to the Rask Network. Before we get into today's show, there are a few things we have to go over. Firstly, what you're about to hear and see is limited to general information only. It's not personal financial advice like you get from a financial planner. Also, it's important to remember that past performance is not indicative of future performance. That means that anything that's happened in the past, or we say today, is not necessarily going to reflect what happens in the future. Lastly, please consider that any of the guests or myself are featuring on this program may have a financial interest in some of the products or shares mentioned. That's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Welcome to this first episode of Money and Chill for 2023 on the Australian Finance Podcast. Kate, how you going?
Good. I made it back from Europe in one piece.
Yes, we'll hear all about that today.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know. Monique, welcome. You've been working for a few weeks, but welcome to this first episode of Money and Chill.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah, and welcome to everyone that's listening after a big summer series here on the Australian Finance Podcast. We broke some records, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Seems New Year, New Me was really popular. People loved the countdown. Well done, Kate. So we've got Queenie on the show, had Tash, Evan, Drew, so many Pete's. Wow. Now we're just trying to think about the others that appeared, but it was heaps of fun. I think Monique was in there.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. No, not to forget Monique. But this is the Money and Chill segment on the Australian Finance Podcast. So this is once a month where we get Monique, our producer,
Hello,
on the show, and we talk about more laid-back stuff. We share some money hacks, what we've been working on, behind the scenes, etc. If you do want to get more serious with your finances, don't worry, we do that too. Those are found in the other episodes on the channel. So subscribe if
Virtually
you like
any other episode, but
Virtually any other one except this one, which is more casual. So we've got a lot to cover. Kate, obviously traveling, which is going to be a big one, but we usually do a few money hacks and things like that. Yes. So I know, Monique, you just spent all of summer reading finance books, and
of course.
Yeah, I think you read about 60.
Have you finished the Psychology of
I
Money?
did.
Oh, is that your first ever fully completed finance book?
Yes, it is.
I'm excited.
Psychology of Money, how'd you find it? Would you rate it out of 5?
It.
Did you leave a review? Good rates?
I will.
Do you have a Goodreads account?
Definitely not.
I don't.
I think that was the first
I do
book
if anyone wants to be friends.
I think that's the first book I read since Harry Potter or something. But anyway,
so it's been a while.
Yeah, very similar.
All in the mind.
No, but I did enjoy it. It was really cool, and I liked the shorter form stories, and
yeah, he's good.
It's all very positive, and it's a book where you come away feeling good about yourself. I feel that's how I felt anyway, and yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's how I felt when I first read Barefoot.
Yeah.
many years ago. I felt really good.
Yeah, there you go.
Felt like I had guidance, but also validation, which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate knows I love validation, so that's probably why I liked it so much too.
Yeah.
So you'd give it to a friend?
Definitely. I think I've given it to my dad actually.
Oh, nice.
So he's going to read
chat
it.
about it.
Yes.
Your own family book club.
I know.
And your dad would probably like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Monique's father. Yeah. It'd be great. I'm sure he'd love, because he's
Just a random shout out.
No, he's into investing, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he is. He's always been, so I think he'll enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, cool. So tell us, did you discover anything about money over the break? Did you try any new hacks? You're pretty thrifty.
Yeah, well, I am pretty thrifty. And I think I kind of incorporated it into my Christmas gifts this year.
Christmas gifts?
Because my family loves to give gifts, and it's lovely. But I also have a one-bedroom apartment that can't hold much stuff. So this year when they're like, oh, Monique, what do you want? What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. I was kind of like, can you please just give me Coles and Woolies vouchers? Because, I don't have space for anything. And that's also helpful, free food for me, at least.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good. And I'm still living off those vouchers a month and a bit after.
So you got a decent haul.
Yeah, got a really decent haul.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. It kind of it's also helped me and my partner's finances in a way, because we've just saved $200 at a time type thing. And we've also I think we already kind of did this, partially maybe because we're a bit lazy, but also we both work kind of day and night, so there's a time issue as well. So going shopping grocery shopping is kind of a challenge sometimes. So we only really go grocery shopping like once a month, and that's kind of determined with like how much food is actually left in the fridge, and it's close to nothing. So the fridge and freezer has to be kind of completely gone before we go grocery shopping, and that saves us a lot of money as well.
This is like less wastage.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and like so much less wastage. Like I reckon our bins last week had one garbage bag in it, one little
Really?
garbage bag. Yeah, we have like no wastage. It's really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Is it bad to give money for Christmas? Like vouchers seem like they're okay because it's something.
Yeah,
Have you ever given cash to someone or?
I have.
Yeah.
I feel like a voucher is better though because you have like something specific that you need to spend it on, and it feels more like a gift.
Yep.
Whereas you give like, $50 to someone or whatever.
Here's a pineapple.
For me,
gets
it's kind
absorbed.
of and it just goes in the stash. It
Yeah,
just goes in my
consolidated
stash,
revenue.
and I never actually know what I do with it.
Yeah, true. True. It just goes into the rest, right?
Yeah.
I've given foreign currency to multiple people as
Oh, yeah,
gifts
that's cool.
before.
Yeah.
Even my aunt
That's
the other
cool.
day wanted a £10 note because she wanted the Jane Austen on the back. But,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I think cash, it's a bit weird one. Like, unless someone specifically definitely needs the cash and you know that it will give them immediate help, I'm more of a physical or an event experience gift kind of person.
Yep.
I'm not really a gift card kind of giver.
Yeah. A lot of the blokes out there are listening to this, still going to give the cash.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
No, I'm happy to give cash. It's probably not as thoughtful, it's fair to say.
I feel like it puts a price on someone and it puts a price on the gift.
Only if you go like, here, Jimmy, here's 20, Sally, here's 20, and Jeffrey, you get 50, and then Monique, you get 20. But no, it's, I mean, that's
I'd
good.
rather just do no gifts if it was going to be cash.
Yeah, well,
okay.
that's the thing. Like,
Do
especially
something with them or something like that. Yeah.
that was with my parents. They were like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't want anything. Like, I just don't want
Yeah.
anything."
Which is the classic reply. Yeah.
And like they're like, "No, we need to give you something. It's Christmas." And I'm like, "Well, this is what you can give me."
Yeah. And you get to spend Christmas together. That's so
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Nice. I'm sure like Monique normally comes up with all the creative ones throughout the year, so I'm sure we'll have quite a few more throughout the year.
Yes.
I did get a bit stuck this month, so I do have some. One of the ones that I don't know where I was, but I had an epiphany and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy any new clothes, asterisks, in 2023. I am not going to buy t-shirts, shirts, suits, pants, none of that, jeans, nothing brand new. I'm going to buy it all secondhand. It has to be secondhand in an attempt to do the whole 3 R's of sustainability, like reduce, reuse, recycle. So the asterisk is I'm not going to buy secondhand undies, thankfully, or socks. I do like my funny socks. And shoes are another one where it's like a bit hard to do sometimes. So that's another thing. But it's mainly just like the kind of things that tend to go to waste. Like you go to Kmart, you get a $10 shirt, you wear it 3 times, throw it out. Not going to do that. I'm just going to try and collect from like Vinnie's or Salvos or whatever. And I've already found some amazing things. And I think the key thing, if you decide to do this too, is just don't ever put yourself in a situation where you need something. Like you need a shirt because you're going out, or you need something for whatever it is that you're doing. Just have a kind of a mental list in your head and just be ready if something does pop up when you go to that town and there's a $2 shop. But
So you've been visiting regional Australian op shops over the summer?
Yes, I was in Cairns. Hot. And I would say that the Vinnie's there is quite good. It's got a good range. I can't remember the street that it's on, but it's towards the airport. And I got a Bahamas-inspired white top, like a collared top, which is really cool. It's like $7. And then this is the thing that you guys are going to be like, damn, I can relate to this. Got blue steel boots.
Damn, I can relate to this.
Yeah, damn. So blue steel boots are like the best boots for tradies, steel caps. They're normally, so the ones that I got are normally $250. I got them for $70. And you might be saying, well, you got them secondhand. They're actually just brand new. Like I put a photo on Twitter, I think the other day. They are actually brand new. They're just not in the box. It was insane. It just happened to be my size. So sometimes you score those bargains when you go through. But fun fact, make sure you do compare to brand new prices, because I was at the register and this lovely old man and woman were standing there, and then this guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, you know that bike you're selling over there? Well, you're selling it for like $250 and brand new it's $220."
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
So he's like, "Yeah, that's a Kmart bike."
The pricing was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, so just check
Yeah.
and know what you're buying. But you can find some great things in there. And to be honest, like, of the three of us, clearly the one that's into fashion here. Not really. A lot of that stuff's kind of coming back in, like that the kind of like more, like you see it around Brunswick and places like that in Melbourne. That kind of stuff is coming back in. So there's a lot of those clothes you can buy really cheap, and it's often good labels. Did you say there's one in Paran? Good shop in Paran?
South Yarra brand, I think.
Yeah, sweet. All right, I'm going to give it a crack. And that's basically it. Other than a few things that I went to before we get to Kate, I got some tips from folks on socials, just on Instagram. If you live in West/North Sydney, cheaper by miles saves me so much money, says Mimi. Consistent with nice oat milks for $1. What the heck? Burke's Dog says, "Hey Owen, mentioned this one to you and the team at FinFest. May not be for everyone, but now that travel has resumed, house/pet sitting is a great option. I paid $0 in rent for 5 years living all over Sydney. But for people working in a flexible role, /casually/from home, whatever, and love pets, you need to have a backup home. And I think that's a great option. So if you want to travel, if you go to trustedhousesitters.com, you pay about $120. And if you're traveling and you've got really loose plans overseas, like particularly London's a big one, but even places in the United States, they estimate you will save 30% or more on your travel by using that. You just need to be flexible with dates, and you need to obviously be at the house every now and again to feed the animals, but that's it. Cornflower Blue says, an obvious one is to declutter and work out what you have not been using and sell it on eBay, Gumtree, Facebook, etc., and make a little extra cash for your cleaning. And I'll give you one more, which is this one. I cycle between food delivery platforms such as Dinnerly, Everplate, Marley Spoon, and HelloFresh. Sign up, then cancel the subscriptions once you're out of the promo period, then sign up to another one. They always send you another 40 to 50% off voucher every few weeks.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. You're on this bandwagon at the moment. I have been doing this for 2 years without fail.
Nice.
So good. So, there are heaps that people sent through. Like, I had some really good ones. Serena. So many people sending in their stuff. Honeybird Travel, really good money-saving hack as well. Thank you to everyone that did send them through. They made my life easy, and they're great for us to share on the show. So keep them coming. Now, that's enough from me, Kate. Tell us everything. What's happened?
Stuff in the beginning.
Everything. I started the trip. So, if anyone's new to the podcast, I probably should add some context. I went on my long-awaited trip to Europe over the summer
Because you'd planned to go before.
I planned to go in 2020 for my 6-month adventure, and I'd saved and planned intensely on a spreadsheet for about 2 years beforehand. But we all know what happened in 2020, so that went on the back burner. So I finally got away for 4 weeks over the summer.
Yep.
And I had an absolutely wonderful time. I went to Rome, I went to Paris, I went to London, I went to Edinburgh, and I went on a tour around the Highlands.
So good.
And it was quite an adventure. It was definitely a challenge traveling solo because you have to make so many decisions by yourself and you've got no backup person. Because when you have a friend or a group of people, you can go, oh, where do you think we should go? We should go there. Okay. And you've got someone to go out with for every meal and it just makes things easier. But I was doing it by myself, so trying to navigate everywhere on my own and making lots of friends, which is the good part of traveling solo. It definitely pushed me to talk to a lot more people when if I had a group of people with me that I knew, I probably wouldn't have done that. So
yeah, totally.
When I went to places, when I went on tours, when I went to different hostels, I actually went up to people and started saying hello and having conversations. And that meant that I really had dinner alone, which was wonderful. So I think that was a good challenge. My most eventful part was after the first week, my phone died.
Completely dead?
Yes, completely dead. Very dead.
Oh, boy.
And so I had thought I was very clever at the start of the trip because my sister told me I could get an eSIM, which I could have running at the same
Yeah, you have it inside your
in
phone.
my phone.
Yeah.
And so you can set that up on your iPhone. And I paid about $100 for unlimited Wi-Fi for 30 days across anywhere in Europe. So I was like, I'm set. I can get maps anywhere. I can access my bank accounts, everything.
Beautiful.
So it was going well until the phone died. And then I realized I could not access my banking. I could not pay via Apple Pay. Luckily, I had set it up on my watch, so that worked. And I still had the card. I didn't have backup cards because I just hadn't really thought the whole thing through. I couldn't access maps, social media, anything like that. Luckily, I had taken my iPad with me because I'd planned to read some books on there. And so I was able to use internet at hostels and get Google Maps up so I could get to the next location. But, you look super cool when you're whipping out the iPad on the street corner once you've connected to the next person's free Wi-Fi. I've probably got a lot of viruses because I connected to hundreds of different free Wi-Fis. Figuring out the map, I took a screenshot and then got to the next location. I got lost multiple times. And when I went to shows or museums where I had to book a ticket, and it's all QR codes now, I had to bring out the iPad. And the QR code was so big, and multiple times people were like, I've never seen a QR code that big before. And they struggled to scan it. And taking photos with an iPad also looks really great too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You look really, really cool. So it definitely challenged me a lot more not having a phone for the next 3 weeks because, one, I stopped taking photos. Because I was like, taking photos on the iPad's lame, and my camera was really bad because it's an older iPad. So I stopped thinking about taking photos, which probably made me more in the moment.
True.
Because I didn't have internet, except when I connected to street corners, I had to really get a better sense of direction because I'd take a screenshot, but I'd have to kind of get the general gist. So I got to know the areas near the hostels I was staying a lot more. And I also didn't know how much money I had in my bank account for a while until my parents pointed out that at ATMs you can do a card balance check and it's free. And so I haven't done this for years.
I haven't done that in God knows how long.
Yeah, I don't
I haven't even
remember
been to an ATM in God knows how long. Like that would never cross my mind.
But you can pop your card in any ATM and just put in your PIN and just ask for a balance check, and it will come up in the screen how much you've got left on that card. So that gave me some peace of mind that I had enough money to make it through to the next stage. But I would recommend spreading your travel money onto a few different cards so you've got some backup plans, because one of my banks was an app-only bank.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it doesn't have a desktop version. So I couldn't get into the app because I couldn't do the SMS code, and there was no other option.
Oh, no.
So that meant I couldn't transfer money from a savings to a transaction account, but I was able to transfer money to my spending account from another bank account that had a desktop login option. So I could go on my iPad and log in via the browser.
Wowzers.
So that's just something to keep in mind if you are traveling overseas. If you do lose your phone and it's an SMS code system, it might be quite difficult. So make sure you have written down your bank account details somewhere. Maybe a piece of paper that's at the very bottom of your backpack. So you can log into your bank accounts via a web browser if someone lets you use their computer or something like that, because most of us don't travel with a laptop. Most probably don't travel with an iPad. So I was just lucky I had that. Yeah. So you've got some backup options for accessing your money.
Yeah. I remember when I went overseas, what I did, I had my travel card that had already euros on it, already transferred. And then I had the up card, which was Aussie dollars. And then I also had a separate debit card as well. And then I went with my partner who also had his separate debit card as well. So we had those backups in case something screwed up. Yeah.
So if you're especially if you're traveling solo, I think you need a few backups. And I hadn't thought about that beforehand. And I was like, if I hadn't had my iPad, I didn't know a single one of my bank logins. I don't know those client numbers, the 10-digit number sequences, and I would have been in a world of hurt because I definitely had to transfer some money to have enough for the rest of the trip. So I would check your backups, make sure you've got some alternative options to log into your account, maybe not put all your travel money in one bank account, take some backup cards, maybe someone who's able to send you some money, not everyone is. But just having a few backup options there.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I guess another lesson learned is buy as many Apple devices as you possibly can.
Yes, having backup Apple devices.
Without that iPad, what would have you actually done if you didn't have the iPad?
Apple Watch.
Because then I
Right
couldn't have,
here.
then I wouldn't have been able to contact anyone. So I probably would have had to ask the hostel to use their computer
Oh my God.
to log in.
Internet
But then
cafe style.
Internet cafe.
But then I wouldn't have known any of my acts. So maybe I could log into my iCloud account and find something. I don't know. Anyway, luckily I didn't have to deal with it. But one of the girls I met at hostel said, she brought a backup phone just for this circumstance if something happened to her main phone, because there's so many apps that require that SMS code as a security measure to log in, or an authentication code. So now I've lost access to all my authentication codes set up on my phone. So I've been calling other banks and providers to reset that, do all the ID check to set up the Authenticator app on my new phone.
Yeah, right.
So it's been so much fun.
Good stuff.
Wowzers.
Good
Wowzers.
stuff. I would have just caved and bought a phone straight away.
Just come home.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Call it a day. I'm done, guys. I can't function.
All right, Kate. You've got an update for us on the cost of things in central London, which is where you spent a lot of time. So tell us a little more.
Yes.
This will also give us insight into what Kate is purchasing.
So since we are a finance podcast, I thought I'd share some dollars, or in this case, pounds. So for beverages, coffee was definitely a bit more expensive. But I was really into this place called the Chai Guys at Seven Dials Market, but they've got a few locations. And they made the best chai I've ever tasted, like in huge teapot looking things, and they had different flavors, and they did a tester for me, and I tried a few different ones.
So good.
Like instead of getting a coffee, it was chai, and it wasn't powder, and it wasn't brewed tea in a teapot. It was just, I don't know, the milk was cooked with the chai.
That Northern Hemisphere
So
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was £3.8, so $6.70, my bank said when it,
$6.70.
yeah.
It's almost as
bad. But I mean,
expensive as Melbourne.
It was pretty much, it was a
difference.
luxury beverage, so...
Oh, okay. Yep.
In that
I
case.
went and got breakfast at a place called Farm Girl in Kensington. And so for toast and eggs and a coffee, I paid £13.5. So that was $23.90.
That's reasonable.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Similar-ish.
Similar.
If you go for brunch in a nice Melbourne suburb,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, you'd be paying
You'd
more
be
than
like-
$24.
Yeah.
probably nearly 30
Although
at
if
that
it's
point.
just,
It was just eggs on toast, so it wasn't...
Oh, right.
There wasn't like 5-side
Free
items.
range eggs or regular
Yes,
eggs?
free-range eggs.
Chicken eggs?
They were chicken eggs.
Okay, get confirmed. Go on.
In terms of accommodation, I was staying at hostels. So I was picking ones with better ratings, and I was picking female-only dorms and smaller numbers, so you could get up to 16 people in a room. So I was picking like 4 to 6 people in a room.
Yeah.
And they had en suites for that room, just one
Nice.
one shower bathroom situation. So one of the hostels I stayed in London, that was near Hyde Park, if anyone knows that. It's a huge park. For 7 nights, that was $462 Australian. So that's approximately 66 per night.
Not bad at all.
66 clams. What's the ideal number of people in a room?
4 was good.
4 was good.
6 was fun. I
What's-
didn't try any more than that.
What's 9?
Yeah, no.
If 6 is
9's maybe not a good time.
No,
and 12,
no, that's too many. That's way too
what
many.
about 16?
No.
That's like an
I
army
did see
barracks.
one at 20. That seems a
20.
bit too much.
Wow, that's for the real
No,
animals
couldn't do
amongst
that.
us.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I met lots of people who had been planning to travel for 6 months or 12 months. And so the budget was much more important to them. And so they were cooking at the hostels, and they were doing like lower budget activities, walking more places, and they were staying in the 20-person rooms because they were maybe half the price of what I was paying for a night.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's just a place to crash,
Yeah.
I guess.
And then everyone's favourite, fish and chips and mushy. Well, they weren't mushed very much. They just seemed like fully formed peas. It said mushy peas on the menu. That was £16, so $28.30. So that was a little bit expensive, I thought, for what I got.
So fish and chips plus semi-mushed peas
Yes.
for $28.
Yeah.
What kind of fish was it?
I don't know, cod. It wasn't
Cod.
amazing. It was okay.
It was fish.
Just a standard cod. Yeah, sure. Okay, so that's not too bad. But you would probably say if you looked at that and you were going to stay in London in particular, it'd be more expensive in Australia, just overall.
I mean, a one-way journey on public transport was nearly $4.50 Australian.
One way?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's not bad.
I think it capped out, but I don't think I hit the cap, so...
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, because you probably go like a few times
Yeah.
and then it's like a daily rate or whatever.
But then going to shows and going to musicals, I was paying anywhere from $40 Australian to $100 Australian per show or play, depending on how big and popular it was. They were always sold out, but I was usually able to, the day before, get a single person restricted few seats, and they were all great. So I had a great time, and that's seemed to be a lot cheaper than going to a really good musical over here.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you go to some of the bigger ones here, like,
Exactly.
even like things like Harry Potter and all that, it's a few $100s, right? So
And over there in London, the British Museum, the National Gallery, all sorts of places are free to go in. So I went in with the expectation that London would be expensive, and it was, but I don't think it was as expensive for staying in hostels that people made it out to be.
okay.
Sweet.
Did you check out any EPL, any Premier League games? Soccer fan? No.
No, I heard people mention sport a few times.
The sports.
Sport.
That's great. Okay, well, that sounds like you had a fantabulous trip.
I did have fun.
Yeah.
I was ready to come home, but I had fun.
Yeah, 5 weeks is great. A great stretch in Europe. So
Yeah, that's so good.
yeah, well done.
Yeah, I survived.
No, like it. Okay, so now we'll just finish off the money and chill with a few things that's going on behind the scenes. We know a lot of you like to know what we're up to, what we're doing, what we're kind of just working on. Obviously, Christmas is a great time of year to reset the batteries, focus on the year ahead, etc., etc. So it did turn out, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, sure enough, that January 2023, i.e. we're recording this on the 2nd of Feb, that was only a couple of days ago, was the single biggest month ever on the podcast. So
It's pretty cool.
yeah, and not just bigger, it was like, I think it was, because we can see like total downloads and number of unique listeners when we look at the analytics, right? And we could see that it was 21% higher than December. December's often a bit of a soft month because people got other stuff to do, but 21% higher, which is huge.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. So you're obviously telling your friends about it. Your friends are finding us, and that's just amazing. So the entire Rask community, and we all thank you for that, because it means more students enrolled in courses, free courses. It
Better
means
guests.
better guests, and we've got some big ones, like one in particular coming up. And it just means like we can just bring you more, and we can. It basically, in reality, it means that we can spend more time on individual shows and prepare more free stuff for you. So, keep telling your friends, keep telling your family to join us, particularly at the start of the year is when they're most motivated to talk about money. So give it a crack. We also would love to hear from you, Kate. I think this is really important.
Yes, so we're plotting out the rest of the year's worth of content because we like to plan. And if there is something that we haven't covered or haven't covered recently, since we have been going for quite a while now, that you want us to talk about on the investors, the finance, the business podcasts, maybe cover an article on Rask Media and Rask Core,
whatever,
send us a message on Instagram. Make sure you don't follow any of the impersonator accounts. We're not going to DM you about crypto or trading. It's just Rask Australia, and you can go to rask.com.au to verify it's the right account. Send
that's
us a
really
message.
important. Double click on that. Like, please, there are some scam accounts out there. They might look like us, but they might have an underscore, or there might be something weird about them.
They might end with a Q. That's a current one running around.
Yeah, never. We're never going to approach you and talk to you about trading. We're never going to talk to you about cryptocurrency. Please report them. Don't report the main account, the actual account, but report them. We've spoken. I've tried to speak to Instagram about it, but please just, don't fall for that.
Yes. So send us a DM on Insta, send us an email, jump into the Rask Core community and let us know what you want, if there's a guest, if there's a topic to cover in 2023, and we'll try and slide them in to the schedule somewhere.
Beautiful.
Interesting. Yes, we will. Monique, question for you. What have been your favourite episodes? I'm going to put you right on the spot.
Jesus.
Your favourite
Monique
episodes
loves
across
this.
all the podcasts over the last few months?
Oh, my lordy. I think I said this to you recently. I really enjoyed like the Evan Lucas ones.
Oh,
Yes.
writing this down. Yeah.
The book one?
Evan Lucas is the author of
Yeah.
Mind Over Money, by the way. He's been on the show a few times.
And he was in one of the summer series ones as well.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yes. Oh, now
What
I've
about
forgotten.
Nick Crocker?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Nick.
I
Yeah,
thought
he
you
was
might
awesome.
be. Yeah, Nick Crocker's. Yeah, he's the venture capitalist. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Did you like Glenn's episode?
Glenn? Actually, yeah.
Yeah?
That just came out this week. So yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just writing these down, so I'll share these on Instagram. So yeah. What about we had some great ones like Queenie as well.
Queenie was cool.
The budgeting one.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was Monique's episode.
Yeah.
My episode, everybody.
Yeah. Hello.
Also the happiness one. How to buy
Oh,
happiness. or
buying
whatever.
happiness.
Yeah. That one was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was
Yeah. It
really
It was a
good.
while ago
That
now.
was probably 6 months ago. Buying happiness.
Yeah.
If you do remember that episode, we talked about like using money as a tool for freedom. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 ways
I
to
can
buy
send you
happiness.
the academic paper if you like.
Sure, okay.
I know you'll read it on the weekend.
Oh yeah, need a few wines with that one. So that's
Read
great.
in my book, so she's
Okay.
ready to go.
So Evan Lucas has obviously appeared on this channel a few times. You'll hear more from him in 2023. Nick Crocker appeared on the Australian Business Podcast first, but then it was shared across because that was just a brilliant conversation. Glenn James appeared, who's the founder of My Millennial Money, on the Investors Podcast. It's the yellow one, that one that we do off to the side. Queenie appeared on this show, and special shout out for Queenie. Kate, tell us more. What is happening?
Well, Queenie has made our TikTok account go viral, I guess, for TikTok.
Yeah.
Her hack on the
Coles.
Coles rain check feature, which, yes, it might have been around for a while, but I think most of my generation had never heard about it.
Never knew that existed. So that's
So
that was news.
I think it's essentially if there's an item in the catalogue, has to be in a catalogue that's on sale, and you go into the store during the sale period and it's out of stock because it's a popular item on sale, you can go to the staff and ask for a rain check, and they'll write down the details on a slip, and then within the next, I think it's 30 days and there's an item limit, you can come back on another day when the item's in stock and get
The sale price.
the sale price. But
So
there's multiple rules, I believe.
someone from Woolworths is listening to this and writing it down now, like, gotta email these podcast guys.
Yes, from my
We do this too.
No, from my Googling, Woolies stopped it during COVID and they
Well,
haven't
like
brought it
Woolies.
back.
Interesting.
Well, Woolies, bring it back already.
Yes.
We've been waiting.
So Queenie did an episode during our summer series for January, which was on 7 ways to save money on the cost of living, because I think we're all feeling it a little bit. I've had emails from all my energy bill providers saying your bill's going to go up
Yeah.
from next month onwards, and
Yep,
this is how
nice.
much extra it's going to be for you a month, which is good that they give you that indication.
Yeah. Well, this is a finance podcast. So if you're listening to this, this is a serious comment. Make sure you are cleaning out your finances. And I mean that seriously right now. Stop spending on crap. Start saving more money, because 2023 could be a harder year for a lot of people than we all realize. So I'm not saying that to be doomsayer, but it just makes sense. Just do it now. Sell the stuff, sell that second car. If you've got a car that's just sitting in the driveway, now is a great time to sell a secondhand car. Get rid of it. Sell that stuff that you don't really need. Because even though I say this, like it sounds scary, it's actually an opportunity. Because if you run your finances properly, it actually means that if times do get hard, you can invest more at better prices. So even if you oversave, you'll have more money and you'll sleep better. So just do it now. And that means things like negotiating rents, it means cutting costs, cutting back on those subscriptions, all that stuff. I just bring that up now. It's really important as we move through 2023. Mortgage rate cliff is coming too, guys. Okay, so we're also working on something, Kate, with Queenie. Are we allowed to say?
Don't know. Depends how much secrecy you want behind it.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's just say there might be a collaboration between Rask Education and Invest with Queenie coming your way soon.
Yes. So please watch this space very closely. Queenie is a brilliant content creator. So we are stoked that we may or may not be, to be announced, to be confirmed, be working with her on something, which would be really cool. We have on Equity Mates coming up. So if you're a fan of the Equity Mates podcast channel and what the guys are doing over there, we do have a value investing mini series coming out with those guys.
In a week or two?
Yeah, a week or two. So what you will be able to do is, you don't already listen to it, go and listen to that. But we, as you know, work with Equity Mates for our courses. So we have the Value Investor Program, which is for more advanced investing. That's available on Rask Education. It's normally $4.99, but when we air these episodes, there will be a discount code, so keep an eye out for that. But we also do the Get Started Investing course for them.
Which is free.
Which is completely free. It's a fantastic course and it goes along with their book. So keep an eye out for both of those things. Jesus, it seems like a lot that we're doing here. So I'll give you a couple of other quick ones. Our Australian business podcast is, to be honest, it's blowing me away. The Australian Business Podcast focuses on small businesses and medium businesses. You don't have to start a business. You might have a side hustle you're thinking about. You might be a manager in a workplace. It really doesn't, you don't need to have a business to do this. And it's definitely not one of those ones that's like, hey, bro, go start a tech company and dominate the world. It's not about that. It's about real businesses, whether you're a tradie, you're a hairdresser, you're a landscaper, you're doing whatever. That is the best resource probably you can find because it takes you through everything. We've got, Kate, I'm just going to say 400 students in the course, maybe. Eyebrows are raising.
I've been on holiday, so I'm not sure. It's been a few weeks.
Sounds
I think
about right.
It's approaching 2,500 students that have enrolled in the free business course. It's got everything you need from HR docs right through to how to understand cash flow. So go and check it out. Interesting. We are doing, this will be announced soon on other channels, but we are now the official podcast provider for the Australian Shareholders Association. So this is a huge thing for me personally, because growing up as an investor, as a small investor, especially when I worked at the Motley Fool, we just championed individual shareholders because they're the ones that always get left behind. So if you've got $500, $5,000, you're a small shareholder. And in the finance world, you often get left behind. So the Australian Shareholders Association, or ASA for short, is an organisation, a not-for-profit organisation that represents small shareholders. So if you have any interest in forcing companies to do the right thing, to pay their employees well, to keep the boards accountable, to ask the hard questions about things like sustainability or corporate governance or pay equality, all of these things are why the ASA exists. And we're stoked because we get to work with them now, not only on their events, but also for their podcasts. So you'll be hearing more from them and what we do with them in the new year, but that mainly is taking place in the Australian Investors Podcast because it's perfect alignment for them. So we're super stoked about that. We are looking for people. So if you want to join the team, let us know if you have some sort of superpower. I won't bring that up now, just for the sake of time. Maybe I'll cut to this one last thing, which is we are going on the road in 2023. I think FinFest was awesome from Equity Mates. Our event in December in Melbourne was so much fun.
I hear it's happening again this year.
Yes, it is. So FinFest is happening again. Kudos to the people at Equity Mates, but also we are going on the road and we're not just stopping at one place, being just down the road here in Melbourne. We are going all up the East Coast. Our plan is to go across to the west as well, south and north from here. We are going everywhere. So
You're about to say the world, and I'm like, what?
well, next stop, New York. So, no, we are going all over. So you will find more information on the Rask Media website, or if you just Google Rask Roadshow. I'm really keen to get, if you are living in places like regional Victoria, New South Wales, maybe if you're in Cairns, if you're in Perth, if you're in Adelaide, these types of places, which we haven't been to before, I'm really looking for someone like a local guide, someone who can help us plan events in these places. So if you know locations, if you know people in the area, if you know where we can try to grow awareness for financial literacy in your town, please let us know, because we really want to come through and we want to help people learn about finance. We do our book giveaways, all that sort of stuff. Got a heap behind me. Please let us know. You can just write into us, whichever way works for you. It would be great to get you involved. So, Kate, we'll finish up the show now, but any interesting reads, podcasts, things, academic journals that you're going to hand to Monique? What have you been reading? Anything you want to share?
Well, I did read a few interesting court cases, but I might leave that to a different conversation. But I listened to a fascinating audiobook called The Way Home by Mark Boyle. And he's been known as the moneyless man because he fully gave up money for a few years. But this book is about his journey to going off the grid and living without money and living without things like electricity because you have to pay for that. And it was fascinating. He's an interesting man.
Does he live in a house?
Yeah, I think he built it or he bought it. I don't know, that bit was glossed over probably.
Okay.
There was definitely a house because he was like reading and had put a candle. But it was just an interesting look about how a lot of our modern technologies actually end up cutting us off from our community. And so because he was doing a lot of this stuff without money, it forced him to connect with his community. And he was somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, but he was still near people. And so they actually worked together and they helped each other on growing produce and building fences and repairing their houses. And so it was a nice listen. I don't think I would want to do it myself, but I also read his The Moneyless Manifesto, which was
Moneyless Manifesto.
a pretty hectic read, I would say. I might not recommend that one. He does go a little bit
Okay. Yeah.
yes, but it was interesting. There was some different brushing your teeth with crushed up cuttlefish.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but it does make you think about all the ways
Wouldn't it get in your teeth?
Yeah, that's a bit gross.
you
I
need
guess that's the
something abrasive.
I guess it would kind of like take the surface off, right?
Like he
the
did it
dentist
quite-
listening to this, like, do not
No,
do
don't
this.
do that.
Yes. Anyway, it was
Or maybe
quite
they're like,
extreme.
yes, do it.
It was quite extreme, but it did make me reflect on all the ways that maybe modern technology actually disconnects me from community and things that maybe, yes, you could automate this part of your life and yes, you could find the more efficient solution, but what do you lose in the process?
Yeah.
And so that it did make me remember that I do want to do a 24-hour tech-free day every week, probably on a Sunday, and just disconnect for a while because there's a lot of things I love doing that when I have technology around, I end up not doing. So it was fascinating.
You could also do that when you write. Like if you wanted to be, I feel like if you were writing a lot, it's hard because most people type, but writing, if you could somehow just like disconnect.
Yeah, but I
find
would do it
get
on not a
distracted when I
work
write.
day.
Yeah.
So I could actually go out with people and not take a phone with me or things like that. When I do
take
it
a
in
book or whatever.
Yeah, and it was fascinating. Just thinking about how do you live without all those modern conveniences, and just the amount of ways that we use money that we don't even realize to make life easier. So it was interesting.
There's a recent film that came out. It's called Where the Crawdads Sing. It's like a book, movie about a young lady who grows up in I think it's like the swamps in the US. It's just really interesting because it's completely off grid, and it gives you that perspective of you don't have all those modern comforts, and then society kind of encroaches on you, and you don't realize like the world gets developed around her and that sort of stuff, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think listening or watching things about people who live differently to you is always interesting because you can get little bits of insights. Yes, it might not be something that you ever try yourself, but it makes you think about the way you do things, and we're all about being intentional with your time and money here. So anything like that. I mean, it won't be a book for everybody, but if you have a lot of time to kill, it could be something interesting to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And you've got one more podcast rec for us?
Yes. I hadn't listened to it before, but Forager Funds Management, which is an Australian funds management company, Australia and US, they have a podcast called Stocks Neat, which is, I believe, a whiskey
Yeah, it's a play on
reference.
Yeah, you just have the whiskey straight up.
Yeah, so they drink whiskey. So
Oh, they actually drink whiskey
They try
while
a
talking
different
about
whiskey
stocks.
each
Yeah,
time.
right. Okay.
so
Steve
yeah.
Johnson, great marathon runner, by the way. He's the founder of.
But yeah, the podcast was short and sweet. They're like half an hour. They covered some interesting topics. So I listened to a heap of those and took some notes while I was on some long train rides. So that might be something to listen to if you're interested in active investing. They talked about their small caps in 2023, active management, mergers and acquisitions. So different interesting topics if that is your cup of tea.
If that's your cup of whiskey, get on it.
That would have been a better joke, isn't it?
Stocks Neat. Yeah, cool. I like it.
Any books or podcasts on?
I didn't actually read any books while I was away. I just tried to escape finance completely and just completely switch off. But I did realise that when I was at Hartley's Crocodile Park in Cairns that if a crocodile was to sneak up on me, I would have no chance.
We all knew that.
I was having this discussion with someone else too the other day for some reason. Like, yeah, we just wouldn't really have a chance with a crocodile. They're too strong. They're dinosaurs.
They're enormous. But because I was fishing like 3.5 hours north of Port Douglas, like on the coast, on the water's edge, I was fishing and I was like, I'd spot one.
Did one creep onto the boat?
Hartley's Crocodile Park, they got this like 5 meter croc and it sits in the water and you're like, oh, it's a pretty deep pond. And then he goes and he aggravates it and then he shows you the water's less than 30 centimeters deep.
Oh my God.
And this thing's 5 meters long and you can't see it.
Shit.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. Crocodiles are the only animals that actually see humans as food. Like sharks bite you, but they don't bite you because they're not always interested in eating you. They just bite you because they're curious. These things want to eat you.
Yeah.
So
It's terrifying.
So you voluntarily went to a place called a crocodile park.
It's
Why
actually
wouldn't
really
you?
cool. If you've been there, it's off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's like $40, but it's a solid 3 hours of
It's like a
entertainment. Yeah, they do tours on like little boats through their man-made lagoon with high sides and glass and all that sort of stuff.
tour. Makes it all better.
But it's actually one of those like wildlife kind of places where you can go where it's actually, I think here in Victoria in particular, we have this kind of like thing, because I used to work at Melbourne Zoo, right? So we have this thing where it's like safety first, like don't go too close. And everyone's really polished and it's all perfect. But there it's still kind of like, they're really fun. They're really like welcoming. It's really like personal type people that you deal with at the Hartleys. And so I just thought it was awesome. If you get the chance, it's about 30 minutes north of Cairns on your way to Port Douglas, just a little bit past Palm Cove. So if you get a chance, you're with your family or just by yourself, go and stop in. It is seriously fun. Yeah, it's seriously fun. So that's what I would say. And other than that, like I've just been listening to a bit of Invest Like the Best. It's a podcast out of the US, Patrick O'Shaughnessy.
Always a classic.
Solid, probably the best investing podcast overall. And then just Tim Ferriss. Just every now and again, just tune in and hear what he's had to say.
Great episode
Classic.
in January on habits with James Clear.
Atomic Habits. Yep.
Yeah. Author of Atomic Habits.
Yes. And one actually, I did actually listen to about 3 episodes of Rule Breaker Investing. Jeez, I'm going to start and end this podcast well. Rule Breaker Investing by David Gardner, who's a co-founder of The Motley Fool. It's like half, David is just I just find him incredible. It's like, he's like half like Shakespearean type creative writer and half investor. And he's one of the best investors that have lived over the last 50 years. So it's incredible to hear him on a podcast. And he does it every week. It's free and it's so good. So, yeah.
It's nice to hear you mention an investor that's not Warren.
Not Warren. Yeah. Oh, we waited to the end of the show. Warren Buffet. I'm sure he'll come up throughout the year. Yeah, that's it. Monique, have you... Oh, you know Psychology of Money.
Well, yeah, that's
Would you
the
recommend
one
it?
I would recommend.
We did give it to your dad. So I guess
What's
10
the
out of
next
10.
book?
Okay, you need to give me one.
Oh, here we go.
We've got some books over there.
Yeah, sort your career out, Monique. Shelley Johnson, Glenn James, sort your career out. I probably shouldn't be saying that. Sort your career out. But no, we've got so many books in here in the office, so I'm sure Kate will be able to rec one.
Yep.
But if you like to keep this conversation going, Money and Chill is once a month. Please jump over into the Rask core community. It's $9.99 a month. We tell you basically how to invest your core portfolio into the ETFs that I like. It is such an easy way to get off the, first base with investing and get started and feel confident in that. So we've got a heap of resources in there, like the highest interest bank accounts and all that sort of stuff. You get exclusive content inside Rask Core, so go and check that. There'll be a link in the show notes. That was a great way to start the year, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Kate, it is always a pleasure. Welcome back from Europe and thanks.
Thank you very much. We've got lots of content planned for the next few months, so stay tuned.
Yes, we do indeed. And Monique, Mini Pizza,
Yes.
as always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Can't wait for the next one.